Everybody, my name's Damien. Welcome back to Blue Collar. This week's going to be a little bit different. And my plan is to be making an oil burning stove, and I'm going to turn this camera around and show you guys what I'm going to be using and try to show you how I'm going to put it together. Alright, so my plan here is to use the old air thing right here, this dill, okay, cylinder, there we go. We're going to use the tank off of this air compressor. I don't need the top, I don't need the wheels, I don't need anything else, just the tank, okay? So my plan is, I'm going to cut all this stuff off and just have the cylinder, and on one of these sides, either that one or the other, there's going to be a tire, or not a tire, a wheel is what I mean. And I'm going to weld a wheel to it so it can have something to set on. So it can set up right, this way, okay? And then I'm going to cut into the side of it and put hinges on it, make a door, etc., etc. I'll show you guys in a minute. Alright, here's more along the lines of what it should look after I get the wheel and everything on, take all that. It's going to look like that. Okay, we're just going to pretend that's not there. Pretend that stuff ain't there and there's no tire on it. And there'll be a pipe and a door and all sorts of other crap. We'll pretend, and we're definitely going to leave this on here so it can burn off, you know. But anyways, I'm going to move this stuff in the shop and start cutting stuff off of it. Take this little bracket off. Forgot about you. Alright, change plans. I think I'm going to keep these wheels and this. Of course, you could probably guess why. But I'm going to tighten this up because this wheel, she's flopping pretty good. So I'm going to tighten that up. It's just a bolt and a nut going straight through with the bearing in it. And I'm going to try to put the wheel somewhere around that after I get it put on so I have a handle and I can just pull it wherever I want it to. So that's what I'm going to do with this. I'm going to fix this real quick. Bring that other piece in here, get it cleaned up and take some of those little pipes off of it, and then we're going to clean this wheel up, see about welding it on there. Make sure to scream while I'm videoing too.
You're not videoing.
Yes, I am.
Not now?
Yeah.
Oops. Sorry, son.
I don't really use those fucking things. What time are y'all supposed to be leaving?
Mama, yeah, that's the signal.
Huh?
That's the signal.
Hmm.
I'm putting the collar on
Can you also see over there? Okay, why are they so tight? We're never using these things, they work pretty good. Alright, we just got done taking the petcock off of here and the other two hose pieces right there. So it looks pretty good now, I guess. Kind of where we want it to be. I want to take the pipe right in here, but I don't know if it's going to be big enough or not. So we're going to have to see in a minute. Okay, I cleaned up some of these welds here with the grinder. Made it easier to, not cut yourself or whatever. Anyways, I took this tire off this old wheel here, and man, is it rusted. Good thing we're using it for what we're going to use it for, but it was a fight to get this off here, let me tell you. I had to wind up cutting around the bead with the grinder to break the tire off, and then cut the bead to break the bead off on both sides. So it was really ridiculous, but we got it off here. I'm going to take the drill here and this little wire wheel, clean it up a little bit, and then we're going to clean this stuff up and get ready. I'm going to set the flat side. So this is the deep one, right? And then on the other side here, it's flat. So I'm going to set this side on the bottom, okay? And we're going to weld this to that. And I got a plan over here before I forget. I wound up capping these off, right? And I was thinking about making my own hole because it has to be up top. But I might as well use where the petcock was on this. I'll just cut out this weld here, and we're going to go to Lowe's in the next day or two and see about getting some pipe that we can put in there. Anyways, I'm going to get this and this clean up. We'll be back when I'm about to weld. Alright, I haven't tacked it yet, but I got this, I wound up cutting the lip off, this lip right here. I cut that lip off so it'll set flush, and I cleaned this up with the paint remover disc, and then I ground that down flush. So I have a minimal gap, and I made sure that this thing was pretty straight, up and down and then this way. Basically, I just got a level and stuck it to the side. In a few places my dad went over it behind me just to make sure, and it looked pretty good. So I'm gonna get a tack weld around this thing, and then we're gonna figure out on the other side where we're gonna want the door. I want this in the back because I got these capped up here that I want in the back, and then obviously a hole for the valve stem and then some other crap. It's not supposed to be the prettiest thing. I'm just gonna use it to keep warm. So we're gonna get that thing tacked a little bit on this side, flip it, tack it on the other side, and I might even leave it tacked. I'm just using it as a stand, so I might just leave it tacked and continue getting the door cut open, stuff like that. So okay, I got this stuff tacked up pretty much all the way around it, and you can sit here and slap the Jesus out of it and she ain't gonna go nowhere. So I'm gonna clean this up a little bit, paint it when it gets a little cool, just so those welds aren't there for nothing. And I think that's all I'm gonna do for the bottom. This is where our little oil fuel inlet, pretty much fuel and air, is gonna come through. We're gonna cut this out at a later time. I'm gonna get ready to make this door. Now I only want it like here. All right, we cut out the door here. Now, I made sure to label it so I know which way to put it back on there when I weld the hinges and everything to it. But here's how I made it. I just made a little cardboard template, right? I laid over it, got a Sharpie, drew around it, and just rough cut it with a grinder here. So that's out now. We're gonna have to find something to, put a plate in the bottom so I can set what I'm gonna use to burn in there, but that shouldn't be too bad. We should have some sort of metal to put in there. So this is about as much as I can really do today. My phone's about to die, so I might do a little bit more off camera, and then we'll come back and see it tomorrow. Okay, here's what I got done yesterday. I got the door on here, and of course it's nowhere near where it needs to be. Look at the gap on that thing. Basically what I need to do is move these two and these two bolts here further that way so it can bring the door that way. And yeah, we'll fix that by moving it. This is just roughly laid on here. I'm going to try to get that off at some point today with some heat and a big ratchet. And then we're going to put that on there so we can slide some pipe on there, whatever you want to call that, stovepipe, etc. And put that on there and you clamp it down anytime you want. We're going to wind up welding just this around the top of it. This came off an old starter, but that doesn't matter. We're going to put it on there later after we fix the door. And then I bought these things. This is that outer pipe stuff and then the fittings and all sorts of crap. I wanted to build it to where I can take it apart pretty easily, so we got all sorts of crap. That's, going to make it easier to take apart if we ever have to. Anyways, that's what I got for now, and we'll come back when I kind of get it roughly put in there. Alright, I welded a little piece on the side here. We'll clean that up later, and I kind of beat the door into place, but I got it to where it'll shut kind of decent. It's just, this is a little bit thicker up here. But once you lock it down, I could find something to fix that a bit, but anyways, I think I got the door pretty much good. Okay, so I changed the location of this here. So now it's on the door, and I made the door kind of sit a little bit more like flush. It's still a little bit, I need to bring this out a tad, but it shuts a lot better, and it just, I didn't like the way it was shutting, so I went ahead and changed that. Now I'm gonna work on, I punched the little dot into there so I can drill that for that temperature gauge or whatever. So yeah, I guess the next thing I'm gonna do is spray some WD-40 on that, get the drilling. Okay, I found this. I had a grill outside, and I actually want to put this right about here somewhere. Anyways, just to make sure this thing worked, what I did is I got a lighter, right? And I'm gonna put this flame on the back of this little piece here, and watch this go up. You ready? See it moving? Alright, so that's how I made sure it worked before I drilled this hole in here for nothing. And it's pretty simple, you just hold it on with that. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and see about drilling a hole probably right here. Go ahead and mark that. Anyways, I'm gonna get to doing it. Alright, I got it on there, and it's not centered, but I don't care because it's still gonna do what it needs to do. So, time to move on to cutting that thing out. I already marked it where I want to cut it because it's got to be this size. And then I got to figure out how I'm going to get that little flange piece out of there because it's got to come out. So we'll figure that out in a minute. Well, I'll tell you what, here in just a second, we're going to see if this heat gauge works. Just kidding, we already know, but we're about to really find out how hot stuff's about to get. Okay? She don't play around. Alright, a lot has happened from yesterday, okay? We've went ahead and got this little fitting on here. We've cut out the top for our smokestack that we're gonna have. And we're about to be cutting the main, like, basically airflow pipe. We're about to be cutting it because we're gonna be fitting that T-junction on there right after here. Now, some things to note, this metal, not that easy to bend or cut. I don't know really what it's made out of, but I think I'm gonna leave this gap. I don't think it's gonna be a real big deal. If it is, I'll just heat it up and then bend it to kind of form it. But I think I'm gonna leave that for now, give it a good test run. We are gonna cut this like I just said. Now in here, I have not got the grate in there, but I got this little 90 mocked up, and then she's gonna sit pretty much center whenever we get that T on there. Now when I do the T, this pipe, when I run it through here, I only want it like that. I don't want it here, okay? So you want to get it flush, and then we're going to go down with it so we can get air. Now, playing this with the top here, when we go ahead and we start running this main oil feed line here, we're going to have to go from 1.25 inches to 1/2. So my plan is here, I'm going to take some of this pipe after it's all cut. I'm going to fit it in here. And then I'm going to cut in 4 sections around it like a cross, and then slowly bend it to match this pipe here. It's not going to be perfect, but it'll do for now. Alright, here's what we got going on so far. I've mocked this stuff up. I'm going to have to break the tacks on this. So that's mocked up. And then we got the 90 mocked up in there. But I got this little, basically it's 3 wheels welded together, and this little stainless pan that's gonna sit just like so in here. Okay. Alright, so that's how we're gonna burn it. And of course this will shut. I have to make a latch for it, but anyways, that's what we're gonna use to burn. We might have to make it a little bit shorter, but it's no big deal. We're gonna have to get that pipe down in there. It's supposed to have like a 1 inch, 2 inch of clearance or something. So we're gonna grab this pipe here, mock it up off of that, see about some clearance, and we'll use the rest of this for that there. Then we're gonna have to get in to the hard part, which is getting that to fit inside of it. So we'll get to that. Alright, we got that cut and fit in there for now. You're going to have a little bit of clearance, like I said. It's a little more than 1 inch, like 1 inch and some, 1.5 inches, 1 3/4, something like that. Anyways, we're going to have to wind up taking all this stuff right back out to try to fit that oil feeder tube, whatever you want to call it, down in there. But I'm going to have my dad help me do that one, because I ain't the greatest at this stuff. But we'll figure it out in a minute. Alright, this is what I got so far. We got the interior pipe and the exterior pipe all in there. It's obviously oil going in, comes to the 90, 90 out, okay? Air coming in, 90, 90 out, alright? We're gonna do our first little test run of this and see what happens. Okay, right now this is what we got, for video's sake, okay? This is the next day. I went ahead and did a few things, of course. I popped a hole in this, so we're not creating some sort of vacuum, and it'll actually pour correctly with the shutoff valve. I went ahead and made a little door latch off of a donor piece from, I promise it works. Oh, there we go, okay. Anyways, it came from this, which is some, I don't know, heater deal. Doesn't matter. So I made a latch for that, and that latch is good. And then I went ahead and bolted this little stack up here. So this will actually stay on it. It doesn't move, but this is just something I threw on it for now to help like push it out, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to find something to get a fan to that at some point. But just for right now, I want to let it burn for a while. So sit back, relax. It'll be just like this one, you know? Let it burn for a bit. I had to rig this up a little bit differently than the first time. I couldn't get the flow in there because it wasn't up high enough. And I had this hose too far up in here so it wouldn't actually catch oil. So I moved the hose down, put it up here, and just hung it. And so far, I just put some paper in there and let it burn a little bit. We're going to see what happens. Well, I guess it's not going to matter. I'll leave this open anyways. Just got to get it hot enough to burn the oil and then go from there. Alright. I don't have any air hooked up to it. So far it's just some oil, right? And it's got air blowing back down in it and it's causing it to smoke real bad. So I'm going to go put that little 90 out there. But so far, just on this little contraption here, it's burning alright. See all that smoke coming in? The wind blew one time, blew right down in there. So I'm going to go put this 90 on it real quick and then see how bad our smoke is. Temperature seems to be heating up pretty good. So we're not going to be touching that. Yeah, duh, it's hot. Anyways, later on we'll have to figure out how we're going to get some air up to it. I thought about just doing the shop vac thing, but I don't want to burn the motor up on it. So I was thinking about getting one, like a small fan for like a tractor or something, and just having it like funnel it in there. So we'll figure that out on a later date. I think this is pretty much as far as I need to go. I just wanted something to kind of keep warm for when it got cold. So the more air you get to it, the hotter it is. But right now, just burning it, it's all right. So let me go put that 90 on there. Well, everybody, that's going to be the end of this one. It was a bit weird making this stove. I got stuff all over me just from touching it. But anyways, we'll tweak it here and there, you know, whenever. But thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. And if you guys like this little twist up I threw in here, please feel free to tell me. If you guys got any pointers for anything I can do on it, let me know too, because that was my first time doing it and it's a little weird. But for future reference, don't burn gear oil. It smells absolutely awful. And yeah, that's it, everybody. Thank you guys so much yet again. And I hope to see you guys on the next one. Feel free to like, subscribe, whatever you guys want to do. And you guys have a wonderful day.